Guten Abend, meine Class. Ich bin your professor, Professor Culhane, reporting live from Germany. We are in the old city of Essen. Essen is a city that was once famous for its coal mining. And behind me here we have Zeche Zollverein, now a UNESCO World Heritage Site, where the coal was mined to provide the energy for the entire rural region. People used the coal to heat their homes, to heat their water. They used the coal for their factories and for everything. And this is where it all happened. But today we're going to talk about the urban household energy transition, because the environment here in Germany has changed very much since we stopped using coal. At one time, this entire area was filled with smoke. The grey was the color of all the houses, and everybody was covered in soot, because the coal is a filthy fossil fuel that comes from under the ground. Now the air is clean. You can breathe without any problem. Why? Because we're no longer using the coal. The coal prices went up when the coal became scarce. All of the land underneath me was hollowed out, and there is no more easily accessible coal to pull from the ground. So now we use oil from the Middle East. It isn't that much cleaner, but it is clean enough that the air here is now pure to breathe. That is why the environment has changed. Was it environmentalists that made us stop using coal? No, it was economics of scarcity, and that is what the urban household energy transition is all about. Economics. It's the economy, stupid. Here we see a real environmental effect of the urban energy household transition. Behind me are the typical houses of the coal mining area of Essen. And you can see that the front houses on the street across from the coal mine are grey. What would have been the point of painting them any other color when the environmental effect of burning coal was that they would turn grey anyway? So all the houses were grey, and it was dismal. But now that the air is much cleaner because we're no longer using coal and the air is pure, people are beginning to paint the houses beautiful colors like this orange and this blue over here. There are other houses that are pink, and there are green houses. I don't mean green houses with glass, I mean houses painted green. And so the entire area is beginning to look more beautiful because we have transitioned away from this one fuel. So imagine the choice we make of the fuel we use to heat our houses and to heat our water and to run our factories affects the entire built environment in terms of its color and its beauty. This is one example of how fuel choices and the economy can affect our living environment. And there it is.
Hi, I'm Professor Sybille Culhane. I used to grow up in this city before I moved to the Middle East and then later on spent time in America. When I was a little girl, all these houses that you see behind me were grey, if not black. Now they're pretty and colorful.
Also, how does this transition away from the coal as primary fuel source to other fuel sources affect the basic psychology of behavior? What we see is it's much more than just the elimination of all the grey houses, or now more beautiful houses with pink and red and gold. Now it is a question of the actual behavior of the people. Why? Because when the air is clean, the people can now breathe, and they are no longer compromised by their health. It used to be in this area, many people died of lung disease, of emphysema. You had people dying of lung cancer, black lung disease, silicosis. And of course there was the radiation that was emitted by the coal burning, which people don't talk about. People were dying left and right because of the choice of fuels. And so this created a pallor, not only grey in the look, but grey in the mentality of the people. It was not a sunny day for the people here, always worrying about who was going to die in the coal mine, who was going to die because they worked in the coal mine or near the coal mine, who died because they were in a factory or home that burned coal. People with black faces and black lungs, all because of the coal. Now we have clean air, and this affects our behavior and our lightness in step. It makes people happier. The psychology is changing because of the ways that we get our energy. Think about it. As little as 20 years ago, when I was in college, these smokestacks back here would have been belching huge clouds of toxic fumes of sulfur-laden carbon dioxide, that causes the global warming. Now you'd say, but now we should not have a problem because, as you can see, this is now a museum, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and the smokestacks are producing nothing. They are just there as reminders of the old days. But in places like China, with its growing economy of over 1 billion people, they are still using coal as their primary fuel. And this is why the carbon dioxide levels continue to rise. And you should know, because you are all Americans, in America, the primary fuel for making electricity is the coal of America. You've seen the coal miner's daughter with Sissy Spacek. It is America's prime fuel. The coal, China, America, India, everybody using coal. But in Germany, the coal is all gone, thank God. And now we are using the solar energy. Yeah, and our next visit, we will take you to the solar fabric where they make the solar panels for all the world here in Germany. Sehr gut.